on the line right as I started recording. What's up, Dubby? Oh, it's looking right at me too. But this is the remnants of Spikes. Is I'm gonna take a look around just to make sure she's not still around. Yeah, it's just like old cobwebs and stuff. You see some of it, like right here. There you go. So she's no longer around, and she was looking kind of plump and mature, which when they reach full size, when they start getting to that age, they don't live long, man. It's just it is what it is. While she was here, she blessed our awning, and she was a sight to behold and a peaceful outdoor roommate. She weathered she weathered through all the cold weather too. She made it through all of the cold weather. With Spikes is the spider that I had living on this awning. But we do have another outdoor roommate. This guy's a little bit different. I saw him tossing sand. This is an antlion hill, or an antlion, what do you call it? Using a blade of grass. Yeah. See that? Anyways, we got an antlion in the yard. That's kind of cool. If you don't know, those are what I think the Sarlaccs from Star Wars was based off of. Basically, a bug that makes a divot in the dirt. And they make slippery slopes. So they're basically like the masters of shoring. And they can make a really, really slippery angle on a sandy slope. And ants will step in, but they won't be able to step back out and take advantage of that. They'll throw sand on the antlion. Yeah, I've got a minute right now. I'm cooking, and I had to ride to the college today because I got to pick up paperwork, and then I got to contact a few counselors or psychologists, and we're gonna try to get me accommodations so that I can somehow deal with the bovine masticators in the front row at my college class because that's just pissing me off, and I can't deal with it, man. Like I'm sorry, I just can't. Is that an airsoft BB? It sure is. I've never seen that color of blue. I can see a very clear seam on it, so it's not a very good BB. It's just injection molded, maybe milled for a little bit. That's it. Try to pick up the trash out of my yard at least. Cats in the garden. Kitty right over there. Anyways, I'm gonna go for a walk because it's about that time of day. Oh, that was a lark. Holy shit. That's a lark. That's a lark, my friend. Ain't no way. That's great. And in the sunlight, too. You can't get better than that. That's cool. That's really cool. I think there's a dove nest around here somewhere because I keep seeing the dove flower beds or these plant beds. When I'm professional at horticulture, so I don't know what all this is called. I just know it's something you put plants in. I know the physics. I don't know the names. And even with the biology, I'm still learning. Got some plants that made it, some that didn't. But after dinner, I'll be getting measurements on my trigger and starting that jig that I was talking about. Be working on that. Thank you, Strike, again for helping me out with the project and making sure this all happens as smoothly as we can make it happen, across the distance and with the limited resources and everything that we've got. You're a champ. Like I realized none of this can be done alone. A lot can be done alone, but you can't bring hardly anything to fruition. Worthwhile that is alone. It's always a collaborative effort. So I am tired of hearing, people talk about how they earned it while they screw over the other guy. That shit pisses me off. Yesterday, I saw a lizard that had exhausted itself trying to molt, and I knew it had exhausted itself because it couldn't even run away from me, right? I was just able to scoop him right up. Usually, you got to chase the little bastards around to try to get one. But this guy had a bunch of skin hanging off of him, and I saw that, and I saw how slow he was, and that's a vulnerable position for a lizard to be in. So I scooped him up, and he's a male, so he was gummy. We'll put it that way. He latched on pretty good, but I took that as extra security while I was pulling his skin off, and at a certain point, I was gently, "Hey, Bowen Harding, how you doing?" Okay, I'm looking where I'm walking. I'm not really watching the chat as I go. But as I was pulling his molting skin off, he kind of started to relax. I think he realized that I wasn't there to hurt him. I hadn't eaten him yet. He latched onto my hand pretty good, one of my fingers. I'm like, that's good. You get yourself secure so I can get some leverage on this here skin. I got most of it, got him to the fresh skin. He had like some stockings on when we were done, and that was about it. And he can deal with some stockings for another couple days. He'll be okay. But like the way it was covering his whole body and just not coming off, and the fact that he couldn't move fast enough for me to like literally just, and I had him. That's gonna get him killed with the predators that he's got out here. You know what I mean? So little opportunity to make a difference for somebody. Small animal. Listen, that's a person too. I don't care what you say. Dolphin lice. I'd say I admire that sticker, man. Looks a bit old and faded, but I like it. I think they were in their car. I think I think I think they were still in the car. I feel so awkward now. I was admiring their sticker while they were in the car. Now I feel like they're spooked by me or something or concerned. Yeah, they're not coming out to confront me, so I think we're okay. So if you guys are in, how's everybody doing? Appreciate you guys tuning in. I know these walks aren't interesting, but I can take some questions or I can just talk about whatever the spirit leads me to talk about. Definitely seeking to be more fruitful. So I just planted another 8 bell pepper seedlings today, or seeds rather. They'll be sprouting out and germinating visibly within about 2 weeks. Maybe I'll start to see something after about a week and some change. They like bell pepper seedlings, they really look like they're doing nothing for a solid 2 weeks. And then they start sprouting up. So I did some math and I looked at some figures and from a single bell pepper plant. Yo, Gozu, how you doing? Hayes for horses. Hayes for horses indeed. Hey, hey, hey. I'm chilling. I mean, I'm doing better today than I was yesterday. My dad and we made up. And that's usually how this goes. We give it a day and then we start chatting it up again and then we're usually on better terms. My dad concedes a few things, I concede a few things. We hug, cry, and hug it out, and it's all good. But I want to be clear about something else. Like this is regarding joy, dude. I can see you're still orbiting me. A few days ago, I haven't talked about this. I'll mention it now. I had another dream. This time there was a bear cub just playing on my lap, nuzzled up to me, and I just pet him. And then the mama bear sat down next to me, and I wanted to reach out and pet her, and she wasn't too happy about that. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Listen, listen, I understand the message is father first, but I'm not gonna be walked on here. And as far as I'm concerned right now, the message is clear. Don't go back to the person that has you begging for it to end. So listen, dude, you said you were never gonna be with me. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Or make a move that isn't deniable and we'll work from there. You know how. Don't be a fucking coward. Who's chicken? Who's chicken? Who's chicken? I appreciate them going so wide for me. That's a hell of a lot better than them practically running into me. Like I've bumped elbows once or twice with somebody's mirror. That's not okay. That shit too close. But I'll give somebody a thumbs up and a thank you if they give me space like that. They're letting me know that they see me and that they're not gonna hit me or play chicken with me, if you know what I mean. People are confusing. Yeah, people are confusing. I just want to live. I just want to know where I stand with somebody. It's that simple. Like you love me, but you show me signs that you hate me. I'm at that point. Look, I don't hate you, but I need you the fuck gone if you're not going to be in my life. That simple. And if you're going to be in my life, you're not going to come back pretending like nothing happened, like it's all good, like it's all okay. No, dude. You say I broke your heart, but you fucking kicked mine back and forth for years. You breadcrumbed me for oh goodness. We got the duckies and we got the sandhill cranes. Oh, they're chatting it up too. I'm gonna let them be. We have such there's so many birds in this neighborhood. This is a blessed. Hey, it's a dove again. We are blessed in this neighborhood. But look, you if you're using a dove with witchcraft, that's basically blasphemy of the spirit right there. So we're gonna let that one slide, and we're gonna say that's the Holy Spirit. Don't play with that one, right? That symbolism is not to be touched because that's unforgivable. Now, if that's the Holy Spirit himself, like I am listening, I do pay attention. Or it could just be birds in the neighborhood too, and I'm just imagining and reading into things. That could be the truth too, but hey, sometimes things get a little. Sometimes you get some coincidences that are a bit much. And I there are times where I just kind of have to concede. Okay, 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 something's going on. Repeat signs, that's a good indicator, either of witchcraft or of the Holy Spirit moving. The Holy Spirit uses animals with me all the time. I have no problem fighting with people I love if it means that we're going to reach a common good that required the growth, that required the dissolution of the ego about the matter. There's a duck. ducks and cats and larks and gnats and lots of little helicopters on the ground. Royal purple helicopters. Oh, we're under one of their trees, aren't we? Yep, there you go. And all of this is mistletoe. All this stuff dangling from the trees. You get that out here a lot. It leads to rot. So like this branch right here, mistletoe got to it. It just kind of constricts it. But yeah, these are probably not maple, but it's a different tree that produces samaras. That's what these are called, samaras. And there are some Thai samaras that glide rather than auto rotate. So these, how they spin on the way down, and that lets them generate some lift and float a little bit, which with a proper thermal or an updraft, they can be carried up into the sky, man. They do it well, but it requires some pretty decent wind for them to disperse the way that they ought to. Whereas the Samaras that they have in Thailand, there's like a seed about yay big on some wings, and it'll straight flutter around and glide. Sometimes they can glide some pretty insane distances for a seed rather than just falling straight from the branch to the ground below. Dude, that's pretty good. Nature does demonstrate some iterative intelligence sometimes, and that's it's impressive to see it sometimes. I got to give Dragon on the channel some credit. He or he also goes by 24. I see him comment hi on all my videos, which buddy, I'm sorry if I came across cold when I said stop that. I wasn't trying to be cold, but it's like, dude, you're like half of my notifications you saying hi on one of my videos every time I go online to check something real quick. I see you, dude. We'll talk. You have my Discord. Hey, kitty. And there's a squirrel up there too. He's pissed at the cat. That's why he's making sounds. Oh, look, Chicago Bears. Oh, Joy, what am I gonna do with you? I do see you in different forms a lot. I'd be lying if I said I don't love you. I just fucking hate your guts right now. Like the games you played, both ruining yourself and to try to hurt me. Swing, swing. God, I'm a dork. No fancy shit. God damn it, dude. It's the dumb stuff that gets you. It's those little fads. The Rara. They're like, bro, what's wrong with you? More than I can talk about. I mean, the last I checked, yes, she's married. That's part of the problem. How can you be married with a child and still dabbling around like you're finding better options? That shit's not gonna fly. We're not gonna have adultery, right? We talked about this. There won't be a divorce. You just won't find me ever again. You'll have everything that we worked for right there in the house. And I'll just like at some point I'll just fucking disappear on you. And that'll be that. I'll just disappear. I know how. And if it comes to that, it'll be worth it because it is costly to disappear. Don't get it twisted. That shit isn't free. You have to lose a lot to disappear. We're gonna keep that one under wraps for now, though. I'm not gonna talk about the details there, but it is costly. Like, look, dude. No, I'm sorry. Be a friend. By all means, reach out. Be a friend, but don't get your hopes up for anything else, man. If God says no, then the answer is no. To be honest with you, I don't even really want to be friends after all that. I want to let it rest. Yeah, my heart's hurt about it. That ain't easy. There was a lot hoped for there. I'm just like, put it to you this way. To have that hope continually deferred versus killing it dead, I'm not going to continue to just let it kick my heart back and forth. No more. That's enough. That's all. Like, look, dude, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to go to war with you. But the problem is, dude, it isn't as simple as just move on. She keeps orbiting me. She keeps projecting into my reality into undeniable ways, in ways where you just, oh, it was just a dream, bro. Get over it. Oh, you're just reading into the memes, bro. Get over it. You're just reading into that. Oh, you're just looking at bumper stickers the wrong way. You're going crazy, bro. Are you schizo? Are you schizo? Yeah, I've heard that method played out for other people too, and they got some of the other people. I'm a little bit harder to kill than that. A little bit harder to do away with than that. So I'll play dumb for 7 years and then hit him with as much as I need. Like, I'll just start unloading the magazine out of everything that I've loaded up. Just fire and repeat, repeatedly. Everything I've got until I'm given the stop order. We've been there. That's how we nailed down that the witchcraft was happening in the first place. There are those who are just sitting back kind of watching, seeing how it's going to play out. I see them. I see their influence. They'll act if they have to, and heaven forbid they do, because it'll be a day of reckoning if that goes that way. Now, listen, Joy, you think you're powerful because you have a congregation, because you have people who are convinced that you're God's gift to the world, people who think that you're Jesus 2.0. You have people that are way more powerful than you. And this is a game to them, but they know that people's livelihoods, hearts, hopes are on the line about this. This isn't a game. This is life. Be careful what you do, what you say. And if you're gonna be in my life, be a friend or get the fuck out, because this isn't a fight that you're gonna win. You're just gonna keep copying my own strategies. You're gonna keep copying tactics that I've used after I've used them. You're gonna keep going in circles about certain things. And I went in circles for a little while too, but then I wisened up. That wasn't all me. I had some help. There were informants, we shall say, people who do this sort of thing for a living, we'll put it, who made the picture a lot clearer with very few words said. And I hear the influence as well to stop talking, to just shut up. Well, if shutting up allows the enemy to continue to have free, yeah, I never kissed joy. I never kissed joy. That's what I wanted to do. But it isn't something you just sneak out of nowhere when she's got other dudes wrapped around her finger anyways. Like, look, I'm not gonna be a home wrecker, but like that was kind of the whole message I was sending for a while. Like, look, I'm not gonna get in the way of what you've got. It's clearly you're involved with this other person, but you know I'm interested. And I get the sense like I was supposed to steal her, some shit. But she legitimately just went from one dude to another, but kept breadcrumbing me. That's not okay, dude. And maybe you've changed. Maybe you're doing better. Maybe you're less ruled by the dopaminergic and by the novel like we are in our 20s. Yeah, it's no secret. We're kind of, at the end of the day, we are meat bags who respond to chemical concoctions in our bodies. When we're dopamine driven and don't have purpose to keep it in check, we're going to kind of go for the substance, the new person, whatever gives us that high. That's what we're going to lean into. It's a fact. It's human nature. We need to stop treating each other ill about it and help each other come out of it. But now we have a society that weaponizes it, that turns it into a game, a contrived contest of who did the least evil. We're all dirty. We're all dirt bags at the end of the day. We're all deuterosomes, which means at the end of the day, before we were anything else, we were an asshole. Look it up. It's another cat. What I'm doing right now is what I think I should do, which is lay the foundation, which is look, you keep using witchcraft, I'm going to keep testifying about it. If some of it doesn't stick, oh well. But if some of it does stick, your ass is on the line about it. We've already had a few things stick. We've already changed a few opinions. So the balance has been shifted. And I have higher ups who outrank all of us combined, weighing in from time to time in covert ways. People who do spiritual and psychological warfare in defense of this nation for a living. And I'm going to leave it there. This isn't a fight either of us can really win. It's a game we can stop playing so we stop losing. I just want peace, man. I just want you to go live your life. I live mine. We go our separate ways. We be as happy as we can. But if you're going to be so messed up by what happened between us that you can't let it go, then be a friend. Let's turn it into something positive and help others out with it. But you're not going to be a friend in secret. You're going to make that shit official. You're going to reach out to me in accountable ways. You know my number. You know my emails. You know how to get a hold of me. If it's like that, just do it. But know that I don't want it. But God's made it abundantly fucking clear that what I want is actually of very little consequence or very little concern to just about anybody. Right? What I want doesn't fucking fly or matter. They don't care. It is what it is, right? I have to accept reality for what it is. And it's very clear that whether God is a deity or whether God is a secret society, he doesn't give a rat's ass about what I want. Beyond it mattering about what he wants. Like if I want what he wants, yeah, he's all about what I want. But if not, it doesn't matter or concern him. And what he wants isn't necessarily always for my good. He sometimes wants to drag me. He sometimes wants to bring me through hell and leave me there for a little bit. He wants to break me down in various ways. It's very obvious. Now he's going to create me into somebody, but I'm going to lean into the fullness of that process, the good and the bad. It's like, all right, you want to use rough tools? You're going to get rough edges. Deal with it. Until you deburr it, it's going to cut you if you handle it the wrong way. Get used to it. Like, you're not going to put me through rough circumstances and expect a smooth person. Life doesn't work that way. You don't broadcast seed on rocky soil and expect a healthy harvest. It's that simple. And for a long time, I've been walking through no opportunities, no room for growth, no real connections it being more work than it's worth for any relationship that I had. And I'm tired of playing the game, bud. I am. I'll be honest. So I'm holding out hope for a break, which is what I hope the school is gonna be. So at the very least, I can have a career that's right in line, right? With the 3D printing, I don't download other people's projects and print theirs. I make my own. I use CAD and make my own objects to print. I iterate that shit myself. So I'll put it to you like this. I left Arizona in 2013. No, sorry, 2014 or 15. Then moved to Virginia. And after about a year of living in Virginia, that's when I met Joy. Promptly after moving to Virginia, I was a Pizza Hut delivery driver for about 4 or 5 months. And then I became a lifeguard. And it was at that lifeguarding job that I met Joy at the Lost and Found. She was a swim instructor. I was the idiot who sat in the chair and walked back and forth all day. And we just kind of bumped into each other at the office and rubbed off on each other a little bit. Found out, hey, you're kind of cool. You're kind of cool. Maybe we should hang out. She showed me her place, showed me her crew, some of her family. And then she saw what happens to me when I start working overtime to try to pay bills and stay on top of things, and expenses pile up. And I start losing sleep, and coworkers start taking advantage of my punctuality and reliability. Right? I'm the asshole that showed up at 5:30 in the morning to open the place up, and I would sit for like an hour and a half in the chair. You can't just leave the stand when people are in the water, right? That'll get you terminated that quick. Because if you leave water unattended as a lifeguard and anything happens to the person or the people in the water, your ass is grass, buddy. That was your responsibility as a lifeguard. I can't just leave my zone. But I couldn't get a hold of anyone. There was nobody in the guard office, right? I had to do whistle blasts and hope somebody upstairs heard repeated whistle blasts if anything happened. I couldn't get to a phone. I couldn't get to anybody except indirectly. And that's where I was left in that kind of a vulnerable state for several weeks as people allowed themselves to take advantage of that punctuality. Of course, that asshole is wearing a Bulls shirt. I know who he serves. The Bulls of Bashan. I've had a few dreams concerning him as well. Uh, I'm actually grateful that he helped me lose my job with the auction place because that was hell. That auction place was proper hell. Florida. Florida. Not all the trees. You do have some deciduous trees, but then some of the deciduous trees have trouble deciding. We'll put it to you that way. Florida is the sort of place where the deciduous trees have trouble deciding. Oh, I'm already doing my school stuff, bud. Already. I've been going to classes, waking up at 4:30, 5 in the morning. I mean, the class content is kind of cool, but it's dealing with a constant distraction, and it's evident that the teacher is not really passionate about teaching. You know, he uses his inside voice, and it's hard to hear him. I just kind of learn at my own pace. I'll go over the course material myself and just learn it, and just keep like a feeler in the classroom discussion and on the board, so that when my name gets called, I can do the assignment or the exercise that they're asking me to do. So we're learning how to use calipers and micrometers and gauge blocks and sign blocks and all this other cool shit, which it's a little bit of math, learning trigonometry in an environment not pertaining to like navigation or aviation is kind of interesting. But once you get it, dude, it's fucking powerful. Like that's the cool thing about math. When it clicks, it's math is cool because it's like we give ourselves tools to make finding answers to complex relationships easy, almost automatic. You just do the calculation and you get the result. You have to know how to set it up. You have to know the equations and what they mean. But once you do, buddy, we're not gonna build a wasp's nest. I'm sorry. Go away. Go away. Buddy, I will get the salt gun. Go away. I fucks with bees. I don't fucks with wasps. Wasps don't give honey, and they're territorial little asshole shits. Yeah, that's another thing. School tends to make education a drag, right? That's the problem. When education is a drag and there's no reason to enjoy it or apply it, nobody's gonna want to learn it. They're gonna check out the whole day, and then people are gonna wonder why are so many high school students unable to read or do math or balance a checkbook. Well, it's because y'all weren't too in it about teaching them in the first place, right? How are you going to expect the children to be passionate if you have no passion yourself? And if you're constantly politically manipulative, which a lot of the teachers were. It's one thing to share opinions, but to try to push doctrine is an evil of its own. And I had both. But yeah, trigonometry is powerful. Calculus is kind of insane. You do have to know trig to do calculus, but calculus is insane because you can do a lot with calculus. It plotting trajectories takes a long time to do by hand, but finding certain principles locally or coming to certain conclusions or outcomes can happen faster and more efficiently with calculus than it does with trigonometry. Yeah, man, trig is cool. Trig is really cool. I was kind of trolling by playing the triangle song at lunch break. Walk in the shape of a triangle. Like one of those things you give grade schoolers to learn about shapes. Awa has blessed my yard. A tiny little wishy just landed. You can't see it on camera, but it's there. Awa. Saw another dove right then and there. That's cool. Right? Yeah, Awa is a seed. Yeah, we gotta do something about our education. Common Core is a problem for sure. And if you make it something like we need to build it up properly. And this is something I'm actually kind of passionate about because I'm of the opinion that if we were to educate people, they wouldn't do crime nearly as much. In fact, if you look at the statistics, people who have 4-year degrees are significantly less likely to end up getting arrested or be involved in civil disputes or crimes. Significantly. So there's a positive correlation between education and a lack of criminality. The more educated the populace is, the less likely they are to resort to crime and destructive, pathological ways of sustaining themselves. Yeah, we do need to clean up our benefits as well. You have beneficiaries who shouldn't be getting their benefits, and you have beneficiaries who should stand to get more. Right? Some people who, despite their disability, they're being taken for the ride. They spend a lot of their time at the hospital or at the pharmacy. They'll wait 3, 4, 5 fucking hours to get their prescription filled twice a week. Well, not like every 2 weeks or so, once a month. Like with certain drugs, they'll only give you a small certain amount per prescription. So these people are getting their pain meds once every 2 weeks or so. Then you have people who collect benefits and they just sit at home all day, play video games, stream, smoke their weed, which I'm not knocking doing any of those, but contributing absolutely nothing else to society makes you a parasite. Harsh language, I know, but it's the truth. If you draw from a system that you do not benefit, by definition, that relationship is parasitic. I can acknowledge this by acknowledging that I also can have parasitic tendencies as well because I'm trying to contribute, but I get the sense there's definitely, oh yeah, there you go, two doves. There's definitely forces at play that cheese that dynamic and make people who, given the right opportunities, wouldn't be parasitic and force they take those sorts of people who wouldn't be parasitic with the right circumstances and force their doors to be held shut. So they have nowhere to go, nothing to do, but they could possibly find some bullshit entry level nowhere to go job where they just end up. I rarely game, right? But what I was saying, where they just end up doing a shit job that grinds their soul away. I'm tired of it. Like I hate the fact that I can see that there seems to be this secret society here that determines who gets to make it and who doesn't. And it's not about people's capacities or aptitudes. It's about whether you're gonna play their game or not. And if no, fuck you. It doesn't matter how intelligent or how capable you are. You're not gonna find any work. You're gonna find dead end wage slave jobs that don't pay the bills. But yeah, regarding video games, a game that I get into once in a while is Ready or Not, which that game is kind of taking a turn towards they clean shit up too much. They should have left that game alone. Void shouldn't have capitulated to the pressure to make it more publicly palatable. I understand that for expanding to consoles, there's certain ratings and certain content guidelines that you have to follow. Like there's certain things that are just not permissible in console gaming that you can get away with in independent development for PC gaming, right? So the big thing, the really big thing was that they had, we won't say graphic, but we'll say more graphic than with the console depictions of sex trafficking victims. So they had basically a 50-foot container on the last core game level full of naked women. Now you didn't see anything, right? There was no explicit nudity, but They were females with no clothes on. Put it to you that way. There was no depicted anatomy, angles were chosen carefully and all that, but you knew what you were looking at when you swung those doors open. Full stop. But I will say, as far as, dynamic first person shooters, where it's not simple, our uniform versus their uniform, wipe them out type of shooter, where it's like make critical decisions quickly in split second circumstances. That's what I like about it. The fact that you're training not just shoot anything that moves. You're training be very deliberate about when and what you do and do not shoot, because civilians have a habit of pulling out their phone and they do it quick. And the first few times you do that, the first few times you see that, you think they're pulling out a gun, and because they do that stuff too, where they act like they're about to surrender, and then they pull a firearm out on you and just start mag dumping you. Right, that was exactly the point. I like when games don't shy away from reality while being respectful of the subject matter. Exactly. That was the thing about the original Ready or Not, is that it wasn't fantasy. It wasn't propaganda or propaganda, and it wasn't painting anything in a light that wasn't true. It was just the brutal, honest fucking truth, minus filters that weren't necessary, full stop. It was just reality for what some law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement, has to deal with. Maybe not daily, but this is the sort of subject matter that they deal with. Terrorist operations growing and entrenching themselves here in the US, sex trafficking, missing persons, drug operations, international money laundering, illegal weapons operations and trades. It's evil in all the forms that it can manifest, brought to you in a video game where you can live out that reality in a virtual way. There's something valuable about that. You you get to no, it's obviously not as comprehensive or as nuanced as the real world is, but it gets a sense of the big picture about all the things going on. When you pay attention to the details of Ready or Not, there's a cohesive story. Nothing exists in a vacuum. Everything affects everything else. Another game that's kind of like that in a sense is Shadow the Hedgehog, where it's a sort of choose your own adventure where there isn't one set ending. There are several different outcomes of the game. There's good, bad, evil, and ugly outcomes to that game. And it's the choices you make. Anyways, I've got stuff on low on the stove I gotta go check out. I'm gonna head in. I'm gonna end the stream here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I love you. Joy, I care about you. Like, don't get it twisted. But if you're not gonna be here, if you're not gonna be present, please fucking leave me alone. And if you're gonna wage war against me, at some point it's gonna start biting. Like, please don't go through that. I don't want to go through that. I've thought about that a lot. I don't want it. But I deserve to have peace. And so do you. And especially so does your kid who hasn't done anything to anybody and doesn't deserve any of our fucking drama. Do you understand? Picture's a little bigger than the two of us or anybody else involved. Do better. Do right, you're gonna be all right. But wage war, and with the political landscape looking the way it is right now, you might have your kid taken away from you at some point. Do you want that? Does your kid want that? Do I want that? No. But everybody involved deserves peace. So if you're gonna be present, be a good friend. Reach out. And if you can't find the courage to reach out, look, I'm not even asking for an apology. I'm just asking for grow something other than madness for once, lady. Like, take that. Hey, what's been following you this whole time? More than one person showing up at your house in robes? That, yeah, that's kind of indicative of witchcraft right there. Like, having the same outcome over and over and over again should tell you something. It's like, hey, look, you keep repeating the lesson with the same moves. God's trying to tell you something. Ooh, I'm at 10%. Say, what's up, Doc? Yeah. Yeah, I could do a Bugs Bunny. I gotta work on it, but I really gotta get that, Boston kind of attitude and inflection. Old school cartoons, right? Even the characters we loved had a sassy and a gruff side to them. I pray for the people who would give me an unnecessarily difficult life to be afflicted and unable to come to those terms. It's very simple. I pray that I have the strength to endure what I need to and not a lick more. Not a lick more, you hear? Like what you're saying sounds good, provided there isn't a secret society handing out burdens to people. And where I'm at right now, the interpretation that I have of the way religion gets bitten is that there is a secret society that determines who prospers and who doesn't. That ain't God. That's the Antichrist. My backyard ain't big enough for, I mean, if you really, really mow Lester, interesting name choice. What I got cooking on the stove? I don't call me your rabbi. I'm not a rabbi. If I'm gonna teach you anything, it's gonna be physics and mechanical engineering and tribology and that sort of shit. As I learn it, and get expertise in that field. Machining once I get good at that. I I don't want to be a guard of all my knowledge. I just want to be a guard of the juicy stuff that would potentiate people who ought to learn a few things themselves. Some things, dude, I get it. I get how some things you gotta let life teach you. But we're really just throwing some of our children into the fray and expecting it to stick and for them to figure it all out. It doesn't work that way. You gotta give them a firm foundation to stand on. You can't throw them into the sea and expect them to learn how to swim when it's storming. And that's what we're doing to our kids today. We're throwing them in the middle of the stormy waters and saying, just grab a handful of water and pull it back behind you. It doesn't work that way, bud. And we wonder why children are offing themselves in record numbers, why people are hitting their off button in record numbers, why people are depressed in record numbers, why their attention spans are shorter than they've ever been, why people are more addicted to substances and vices than they've ever been. Well, it's because people are checking out. People are so stressed and so overwhelmed that to bounce from one vice to the next is about the only thing they know how to do. The only thing that makes their reality palatable and bearable for them. That's not a them issue. That's a societal, social issue. That's the hand we've been dealt. We can do better collectively. No more playing God as secret societies, by the way. Start coming forth. Start coming forward, folks. You bet your ass if you don't, and I find any detail I can pin down, I'm nailing it down hard. It's that simple. Yes, it's okay to watch people. It's okay to gather information, but to play God in secret, you got another thing coming. Right? I asked my pastor, do you watch people? And he said, I have to. And I admire that. I really appreciate the honesty there. Because it's not trying to lie to me. It's not trying to convince me of something that isn't true. I felt it out for a while. I'm like, are they watching people? Yeah, they are. And I understand why they have to. There's a degree to which, right, a shepherd protects his flock. Full stop. But a shepherd shouldn't be tending to another person's flock without their consent. A shepherd shouldn't throw stones at the neighbor's dogs, pretending that they're wolves. Right? Every shepherd has his sheepdogs. And I urge you, if you have a lick of awakeness about you, not wokeness, awakeness, where you're waking up to reality and what it is and what's going on here. Like you're having your Buddhic enlightenment. Be a sheepdog, not a sheep. Sheep follow trends. Sheepdog keep the trends in check. Islam, there are plenty of beautiful Muslims for whom love is their religion and Islam is just a culture, but there are plenty of Muslims who have depraved minds, depraved souls. And I've met both. So Islam is a religion. From its literal legalistic interpretation, I can't support. But if you're a Muslim and we can get along and we can come to agreements about what to value, what matters, what's okay and what isn't, right? If we can come to the same page on morality, I have no issues with Muslims. I might poke you about Jesus, but it's gonna be lighthearted. It's just gonna be, look, I'm not forcing you into anything here. I'm demonstrating the principle, but live the gospel, right? Preach the gospel, and then if necessary, use words. I forget who said it, but it's beautiful and it's the truth, and it's how I've lived my whole life. I don't want to push Jesus onto anybody. I want to talk about him to some people when I feel moved to, not annoyingly, not when people aren't asking about it, not when there isn't that room for it, right? But if somebody's seeking and I can tell, it's like, look, do you know Jesus? Like, what do you know about Jesus? What's your perspective on him? Right? The one verse that sticks out to me about the Quran is the one that says, "Maim and crucify the infidels, then make fun of it." What am I supposed to interpret there, bud? What is that? And we can talk about Aisha. That's a sore subject. And we can talk about how in the ancient world people usually only live to about 30, 40, maybe 50. Being alive past 60, 70, 80 was rare. Right? So we can say, all right, yeah, maybe a war chief would take a 9-year-old wife. And when people are already bleeding monthly at 10, 11, 12 years old, that's not in the ancient world, that wouldn't necessarily have been unheard of, but dude, come the fuck on. We can't try to defend that. And then there's a lot of Islam that I have seen that is defending of pedophilic type behaviors, of unrestrained sexual gratification. That shit ain't gonna fly. The Bible is pretty clear. It doesn't make explicit statements about what is and isn't okay between a man and a woman. For a reason. It leaves that leaves that to God, leaves that to the two involved, right? I encourage you, try to read into the scriptures and tell me what it says about what is and isn't on the table. No mention. I've read the Bible cover multiple times. I won't say I have all the scriptures memorized. I won't say I know how to read, how to cite, how to quote scriptures by book, chapter, and verse, right? I'm not one of those scholars, but I have the heart of it. I have the spirit of it. Guten Tag, Grüße aus Florida. Schön, dass ich hier einen Deutscher habe. Picking a favorite book of the Bible is difficult. There's so much of it that's so rich. I gotta check my stove, man. Damn you, sidetracking me. I'm gonna check the stove real quick. I'll come back out. Anyway, I boned to myself. Oh, just in time ish. We got lentils. No, it's not incinerated. It's good. When my family makes lentil soup, they make it thick. We drink our water. We don't eat it. Right? We turn lentils practically into a paste. That's the way my family loves it. And it's the best way to eat it, man. Oh, I forgot. I gotta put these fucking things in. One second. I'm gonna reconstitute it with a little bit more water. Hmm, there's some good stuff. Nah, that was a packet of this. I use my ramen for chow mein for lunch. So I make eggs with bell peppers and onions for breakfast. 5.55 by the way. Nice. I make chow mein for lunch and I use ramen, just the noodles, cabbage, celery, onions, some lard, or soy sauce, oyster sauce, little sprinkle of sugar, a little sprinkle of salt, maybe a little bit MSG if I'm feeling it, a little vinegar, some water. And then for dinner, lentil soup or refried beans with rice. Yeah, speaking of, let me add a little bit of shaboosh. I gotta get some stuff. Hey, question for you guys. I don't like being a beggar. My ego's too big. However, I've got a buddy who's been telling me to do this, and I can't deny that it would be helpful. Should I put up a donation link, either a QR code or a link to my Cash App? So if some of y'all feel like it, you can send me money. I'm not gonna hound you guys about it. I'm not gonna beg about it every episode, but once in a while I'll be like, hey, look, I'm just a broke son of a bitch trying to make it out here, slugging against it like you are. If you're a little bit blessed, if you don't mind, would you mind blessing me up? 'Cause I got like $25 to my name right now, and I gotta go. get more stuff, and I've got to get gas for next week, and I've got errands to run. It's tight. It's usually tight. But that said, I do have tax returns coming back, which will be juicy this year. My Google Bucks from my YouTube earnings are almost at 100, which means I should be getting a Google check of $100 and some change in the next month or two. Yeah, and that's the thing. I do these streams just one, so if anybody's interested, they can kind of touch base with me, see where I'm at, see what I'm thinking about, talking about, what's on my heart and mind. You know, I tune into other people's streams once in a while and see what they're dealing with, and lo and behold, a lot of us are dealing with a lot of similar shit. Scriptures, the scriptures tell us that, by the way. The scriptures say that when you go through afflictions, take heart knowing that others are going through similar circumstances. Yes, I'll let that simmer down some more. Really low heat. I have it on a 2, but right, we're in the same boat and we're cut from the same cloth. I've had ego dissolution experiences that have basically indicated to me that we're all the same person at the end of the day. And there's physical thought experiments that kind of back that idea up. There's a thought experiment which is, by the way, mathematically sound that suggests that the entire universe is a single electron whizzing back and forth across space-time as a positron and electron. And it checks out. The math of it checks out. If time is filled in the sense that that language is used, then the math checks out. And that means not only are we all the same person, we are literally the same fucking electron playing games with itself. That's like some of these thoughts that I've had about. I need to be careful about certain directions I go because there are cognito hazards. There are some things that certain people, if exposed to, they'll just start spiraling and they won't be able to stop. Their brain's going to obsessively do it. How do I know? I've gone through it. It ain't fun. It's, yeah. Yeah, it kind of happened about the same time as Joy, too. Joy, listen, dude. I'll be honest. Like, look, on this walk or whenever I see signs from you, I do feel love. Like, I do care about you. I do want you to be okay. But I'm tired of the games. Just be present if you're going to be around. Eh, ain't that the truth? Philosophy in general is a bit of a cognito hazard. Yeah, yeah, and it can be an information hazard too. You go down the right pathways, you can just figure some shit out. Some secrets are very loosely kept, but very tightly guarded. That's the best way to describe it. There's madness in some of it. Like legitimate, your brain won't be able to let go of it. You're gonna lose sleep. You could go off your rocker entirely. Type of cognito hazards. I'm not out of touch to suggest this. There's other sources that can verify this. It's usually intellectuals who are gonna be susceptible to that. Stupid people, they might hear the fact, they're not gonna grasp it, they're not gonna be able to do anything with it, and it doesn't affect them. But somebody who has the right foundation, the right knowledge base, anyways, they're gonna spiral. Full stop. That isn't puffing up the ego about intelligence either. That's just acknowledging a reality that exists. That say, look, benefits have curses too. Every rose has its thorn is a good way to put it. Like everything that reaps a benefit also imposes its own burden. And unfortunately, even scripture verifies that. Those who are learned and wise and intelligent, with increasing knowledge comes increasing sorrow and grief. Fact. Know this firsthand. It is a fact. The more you know about the world, the more you hate reality. The more reality breaks your heart because you see the nuances other people miss. And reality is by and large kind of a tragedy. The lion lives by sinking its teeth into the sick and the young. Entropy is going to get every last one of us. Full stop. Like, just those two things alone. The fact of life demanding death and the fact that death comes for all of us. That right there is enough to make some people mad. Some people spend their whole lives running away from those two facts alone. But I would rather know all of this and reap whatever benefits it might possibly gain. Not just for myself, but for anybody that I can be of benefit to. I would rather obtain those benefits at the costs that they bear than remain ignorant. And if you can't help yourself, if you go through the motions anyway, you might as well be a saint about it. Because it's sad and sorry to feel sad and sorry about yourself. I say as somebody who's been sad and sorry for himself for a long time. It still is sometimes. I hate my life, I'll be honest. But it's growing and it's looking up. I got a couple more celery plants here, that I took some stalks off of, replanted. But these are my lentils, my little babies. We got a few here. So these two, they're a little bit stuck. And this one's a lot of bit stuck. This one either damped off or rotted, and I had to pluck it out. And I've got a new one planted that in about a week's time we'll see it start coming up. But that should stagger these enough that when we have a harvest, we'll have a couple plates. We're doing some stuff, man. Stuff's happening. I'm not just sitting here feeling sorry for myself. Change my bell peppers. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna have to thin some of these out. Is that even a third one down there? No fucking kidding. Where are they all coming from? Because I know I did not plant them one on top of the other on top of the other. So this is kind of absurd. Because there's this one right here. There's this one which has come up for a bit. But I see, yeah, see, there's another pair of cotyledons right there. Another pair of the first leaves. So if you look at this guy, this is my healthy plant. These are the first leaves that show up, the cotyledons. They don't have any of the texturing, the veins. These come straight out of the seed pod. And these are the first producers that generate anything for the plant from sunlight. Then you get your true leaves and your secondary sets starting to come in. But you got, see, those are your cotyledons on this guy. And it's good to do this. Simulate some wind, forces them to be a little bit stronger. But yeah, I might have to thin these out because they're growing practically right on top of each other, which is not ideal. I'm hoping more are gonna pop up because I planted a good number of seeds around the margin of this pot. But we might thin these out. I'm gonna leave the strongest one, the most viable one, intact, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Anyways, I'm at 1%. I love you guys. Joy, if you can't stop orbiting, just fucking reach out or be gone, please. It's simple. Like, look, I'm not gonna predict the future. I'm not gonna say what is or isn't gonna happen. I'm gonna say I don't want it. I'm kind of sick of it. But if God's gonna keep affirming it, if it's gonna keep showing up, like, listen, dude. just reach out. You don't have anything to be afraid of. I'm not going to abuse you. I'm not going to torture you about any of it. I'm just going to say, look, we can't say nothing happened. We can't say it was nothing, but let's move on and move on in a better direction. That's simple, right? Be a friend. Talk to you guys soon. Buddhism's all right, but it's a little right to be a like I think Buddhas are real. I think there are people who are properly awake to the nature of reality, and then most are asleep. Right? I consider anybody who wakes up to reality to be a Buddha. It isn't something to embellish oneself with. It's a state of being. If you get ego about it, you're not a Buddha. You're not awake yet. If you puff yourself up about it, you're not a Buddha. But if you're just awake and trying to bless other people, right? You're not a pratyeka, you're a bodhisattva, and you give forward what you've learned and what you've seen, then yeah. And I don't think that disregards Christ at all. There's no deification of the Buddha in proper Buddhism. If they're deifying the Buddha, they're not taking what he said seriously. Gautama made it very clear. He's not coming back and he's not to be deified. So stop deifying him. But wisdom from any source is valuable. Peace from any source is valuable. And if it's from Asia 500 years before the advent of Christ, I'm not going to expect a human being to know of Christ from a separate culture in a different land. Full stop. But wisdom is wisdom, spiritual peace is spiritual peace. Don't read into it what isn't there. It's that simple. Anyways, love you guys. Talk to y'all soon.